Hello, YouTube. Let's talk. Your job and your medications. Having medical conditions and being bipolar 1, it's fair to say I have a fair amount of medications. Just like disclosing your disability, your physical or mental disability, to your employer, you have to think first. The ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, can protect you from losing your job due to your disability. If you notify your employer first. Now, bringing it up at the job interview may not be the appropriate time to go, oh, by the way, thanks, and here's my name, here's my resume, and I have bipolar or schizophrenia or OCD or fibromyalgia or MS. You want to pick the time, the place, the environment, the right time. You don't even need to bring it up unless it may interfere with your job. It is your right to bring up your disability. It's not their right to ask. However, if your disability interferes with your job to the point where it could cost you your job and you haven't mentioned it, you're not protected. So if you get into a place where you think it may begin to affect your job, you need to bring it up. When it comes to medication, medication is an area you have to be really careful. Explore your own workplace's policy. Some workplaces have policies that they say are drug-free workplaces. People cannot be under any types of medication that are controlled substances, even including prescription medications. If they are under prescription medications, they have a duty to inform the manager or the people above them, whoever they're supposed to inform, that it may impact their job performance. They're under X, Y, or Z. Before they report to work so that accommodations can be made, you need to have documentation of your disability. And you need to have documentation of your prescription, preferably something directly from your doctor about how it may impact your work performance. Would be good if you think it might. So be careful of your own particular workplace's policies regarding your prescriptions. However, because you can't be discriminated against based on your disability, you oftentimes cannot be discriminated against based on your medication and its side effects. Oftentimes when we first start medication, it can have some severe side effects. Usually they go away, but they can really make you a little loopy for a while. And that may impact your job performance. And you may need to notify your employer. But it gets into tricky territory because there are certain circumstances where you can be terminated for your prescription drug medication, even if it is prescribed to you, if it puts others in jeopardy, danger to yourself or others, or makes you completely incapable of doing the job. Say you are a heavy machine operator and you're taking something that causes drowsiness, fatigue, and double vision and endangers you from driving and operating heavy machinery. Perhaps you could get a note that would say for a period of time and take a temporary leave of absence, notify your employer, and take a temporary leave of absence until the medication side effects wears off and you adjust your medication, if this is not going to be a permanent side effect of the medication. If you are supposed to be a driver, a pilot, heavy machine operator, anything like that, and you're taking something that is going to impair your vision, your level of consciousness, it may not be, there may be no way that you can be accommodated in your position anymore for being on that medication. If you are a policeman and you're taking some type of substance that is going to alter you, they may deem you to be unsafe, be handling firearms, and under your medication. But if you're a general office worker, general laborer, most positions, it's not going to be a life or death sort of scenario for you to be under the side effects of medication, especially the temporary side effects of medication. But you still don't have to bring it up. They do not have a right to ask you what you are taking. Now, if you're taking something that causes you to come in and appear intoxicated, they're going to ask you if you're intoxicated. If you haven't already brought it up, you may be on the losing end. You still may be able to be protected. If you then inform them, they already knew of your disability, medical or mental, and you inform them that yes, you are on this prescribed medication because they are worried you're intoxicated, you provide proof that it's from a doctor, what it is, what the side effects are, and accommodations can be discussed at that point. And you can be reasonably accommodated and still perform your job. Just like with the disability itself, you have to still be able to perform the basic job functions. And if your medication is going to interfere with your capacity to perform your basic job functions for a period of time, you may be able to get a medical leave. So dig into the law, dig into the code of your workplace, think carefully and critically before you disclose your medications to your employer if you want to keep your job. But also if you want to keep your job and your medication is going to impact your ability to do your job, same as your disability impacting your ability to do your job to the point where it could cause you termination, though it's not their right to know. It's better that they know ahead of time than thinking that you are on some sort of illicit drug, coming in intoxicated. So, do your homework. Do your homework very carefully. Know your medications. Know their potential side effects, especially when you're starting a new medication. Know your own work's policy. And be very, very careful. Know that it's your right to disclose. Be careful before you disclose. and realize that accommodations are the second step if it does impact your job. But that there are some slim situations where you can't combine certain medications in certain professions. Just like you can't combine certain disabilities in certain professions. You can't be a blind pilot. It's not feasible. There's not an accommodation for that. So be careful. And there may be some other type of medication you can take that won't impact your job. But if you have to take this medication and it might have an impact on your job performance, especially if it's time limited, do your homework and consider bringing it up. When it comes to disclosure of your disabilities or your medications, it's entirely up to you. But you can't be protected by the ADA without your employer knowing